My friends, welcome to the News Today Talk podcast. The week isn't even over yet, and things are already getting crazy. And let's be honest, this is a race against time, because time flies and the battles are heating up, right? This is football, the Steelers' way. I'm holding on to faith that the Super Bowl isn't just a distant dream. And if you, just like me, believe it too, drop a like on this video and comment, "Go Steelers, I believe." Now, without wasting any time, the quarterback question in Pittsburgh isn't just about who takes the first snap in 2026. It's about what direction this franchise wants to take for the next decade. The clock is ticking on Aaron Rodgers, and everyone inside the organization knows it. Whether it's retirement or the simple reality of decline, the Steelers are standing on the edge of a massive decision that could reshape the future of the team. The conversation starts with Rodgers because it has to. He's earned that. But as we look toward the horizon, it's impossible not to ask what happens next if the 2025 season ends with him walking away Mike Tomlin's future. The team's short-term roster moves, even the fate of veterans like Cam Hayward and TJ Watt, all of that is tied to what happens under center. If Rodgers calls it quits, the Steelers will face a familiar fork in the road. Do they double down and chase another title run with this veteran core, or do they finally pull the trigger on a rebuild? Cam Hayward has only 1 year left on his contract and is unlikely to play beyond 2026. That alone adds urgency. Pittsburgh may have one last shot with this group to make a real run before turning the page. And if that's the case, if Tomlin and the front office decide to go all in for one more season, they'll need a proven veteran to replace Rodgers, not a project Matthew Stafford's name has already started circulating in league circles. The Rams nearly shipped him to the Raiders last offseason, and that's not rumor, that's fact. The relationship in Los Angeles is year to year now, with Stafford pushing for top-tier money while the Rams quietly consider a reset. If he's available, you can bet Pittsburgh will at least make the call. Imagine that. Rodgers to Stafford, another future Hall of Famer stepping into black and gold for one last run. It wouldn't be cheap, but if the front office wants to stay in win-now mode, Stafford might be the best available path. There's another name floating around, though it feels less likely: Daniel Jones. On paper, he's technically a free agent next offseason, but with the Colts trading 2 first-round picks for Sauce Gardner, it's hard to imagine they'd let Jones walk. He's probably staying in Indianapolis. Still, as far as game manager options go, he fits the mold of what Pittsburgh might consider if they're looking for a steady hand instead of a splash. But the truth is, Jones isn't moving the needle for this fan base or this locker room. The Steelers have lived through that kind of safe quarterback play before, and it's not going to get them to another Lombardi. Then there's Kyler Murray, the most intriguing name of the bunch. The Cardinals might be holding him out this year to keep him healthy for a trade, and while Murray's last few seasons in Arizona haven't exactly screamed franchise savior, you can't deny the talent. He's young, dynamic, and still has the kind of arm that can change games.
The concern, of course, is whether that smaller frame can hold up in the AFC North's brutal winter and physical defenses. You put Kyler in December football against Baltimore and Cleveland, and that's a whole different world than what he's used to. But man, it would be fun to see. Geno Smith is another possible option, though that one's tougher to read. His stint in Las Vegas has been rocky, the offense has sputtered, the protection's been bad, and without Brock Bowers for most of the year, Geno's been throwing out of desperation. He's aggressive, sometimes to a fault, but his arm talent is undeniable. He could be a cheaper trade target if the front office wants a veteran who's hungry for redemption and capable of hitting big throws when the moment calls for it. And then, of course, there's Tua Tagovailoa. Talented, efficient, and accurate, but a tough sell for this division. Tua's track record in cold weather games is rough. His arm strength doesn't fit what Pittsburgh's offense has traditionally been built around, especially in late-season AFC North games that come down to throwing through wind, rain, and pressure. He's thrived in Miami's warm, scheme-driven environment, but Pittsburgh's not Miami. That one feels like a non-starter. So that's where we stand, a handful of veteran possibilities, each with pros and cons, and an organization at a crossroads. It's not just about talent, it's about philosophy. Do the Steelers want to keep patching things together, one veteran after another, or do they finally commit to finding and developing the next franchise guy? Because that decision will ripple through everything, from how they handle Rodgers' exit, to whether Hayward and what stick around, to what kind of team the Steelers will be in 3 years. The conversation is only getting started, but one thing's clear, the quarterback position isn't just another offseason decision this time. It's the decision. So tell me, Steelers fans, if Rodgers does walk away, Which path would you take? Would you want one more run with a veteran like Stafford, or would you hit reset and start fresh with a young arm? If the Steelers decide to take that leap toward a new era rather than clinging to one last veteran run, then the strategy at quarterback becomes the defining moment for the franchise. It's not just about who replaces Rodgers, it's about whether Pittsburgh finally chooses to stop renting quarterbacks and starts building around one. That's where the concept of a bridge quarterback comes into play, and the options here are actually more interesting than most fans might realize. There's Mason Rudolph, still under contract through next season. He's not the flashiest option, but his familiarity with the system and locker room carries real value. If the front office drafts a young quarterback in 2026, Rudolph could be the guy to steady the ship, a professional who understands his role and won't create drama. Jacoby Brissett, now in Arizona, fits the same mold. Big arm, careful with the football, and dependable enough to manage an offense while mentoring a younger player. And then there's Joe Flacco, a name that would certainly raise eyebrows in Pittsburgh. Signing him would complete the AFC North cycle. He'd have played for every rival. But Mike Tomlin has always respected Flacco's professionalism and toughness. If he were willing to come back for one more season, that move would make sense as a short-term bridge while grooming the next guy. The Steelers could also consider Tyrod Taylor or Jimmy Garoppolo, both veterans who protect the football and have experience in West Coast-style offenses similar to what Arthur Smith likes to run. None of these names would set the fan base on fire, but each could serve as a capable placeholder while the organization brings along a rookie quarterback. And that's the big conversation that needs to happen now. Who could that rookie be? Well, Howard's name keeps coming up internally. Drafted in the 6th round, he's got the arm strength, the build, and flashes of confidence that intrigue the staff. But let's be honest, Pittsburgh can't afford to bank on a long-shot 6th-rounder as the future. John Gruden might call him the next Josh Allen, but he doesn't have Allen's physical dominance or playmaking instincts. At best, he's the kind of steady presence who could become a Derek Carr type of player. Solid, competitive, but not the elite difference maker you need to survive in a conference stacked with superstar quarterbacks. If you settle for that, you're signing up for 10 years of being good, never great, and that's where the draft comes in. If Pittsburgh truly wants to build for the long haul, the front office needs to find their guy, someone with elite upside who can stand toe-to-toe with Lamar Jackson, Josh Allen, and Patrick Mahomes in the AFC. The upcoming draft class offers several names worth watching. Ty Simpson, Fernando Mendoza, Dante Moore, all projected as potential top 10 picks. Getting one would likely require trading up, but that's what real commitment looks like. Then there are intriguing mid-round options like Lenora Sears, Brendan Sorsby, Darian Mensah out of Duke, or Jordan Maeva from USC. Each brings a different skill set and developmental path, but the philosophy has to be consistent. You draft him, you protect him, and you let him grow under a competent veteran. Because the biggest trap in the NFL isn't being bad, it's being average. Drafting a quarterback who's good enough, paying him superstar money, and then realizing he'll never actually take you over the top. That's how teams get stuck in purgatory, and it's something Pittsburgh can't afford. The goal should be clear. Find a quarterback who can elevate this franchise for the next decade, not just manage it for another 2 years. And there are names out there that might surprise people. Trevor Lawrence, for example, could become a trade candidate if things keep sliding in Jacksonville. His contract is movable, and a new coaching regime could decide to start fresh. He has the arm, the body, and the mentality to survive AFC North football. That would be the kind of bold, defining move that reshapes a franchise. Mac Jones, meanwhile, is playing efficient football in San Francisco but lacks elite traits, a possible fit for Arthur Smith's system, though not an exciting one. Justin Fields remains an interesting wild card. Tomlin and Smith have both admired him before, and while his inconsistency is frustrating, there's no denying his raw athleticism. If anyone could rebuild his career, it might be Pittsburgh's coaching staff. Bryce Young? Maybe, but the size and arm limitations raise real concerns about how his game would translate to cold, physical AFC North matchups. Tyler Shaw? Another name to watch if New Orleans ends up drafting early and moving off him. Arthur Smith reportedly liked him during the last draft process. But the truth is, all of these scenarios come with risk. There's no perfect choice, no guaranteed answer. What matters is the direction, whether the Steelers finally commit to building something again instead of patching it together. And that's the question hanging over this fan base right now. What's the plan? Do you want one more ride with a veteran like Stafford, hoping the old guard can squeeze out another playoff run? Or do you take the long road, draft your guy, develop him the right way, and build the next generation of Steelers football from the ground up? So tell me, Steelers Nation, what would you do? Would you bring in another veteran to chase one last shot at glory? Or is it finally time to find and develop the future of this franchise? Let me know in the comments, and if you want more deep dives like this one all season long, make sure to hit that subscribe button, drop a like, and check out the other Steelers videos on your screen right now. Because make no mistake, this isn't just a conversation about the quarterback position, it's a crossroads for the entire Pittsburgh Steelers organization. Every move from this point forward will tell us who the franchise truly wants to be. If they chase another veteran, it means the front office still believes this current roster can compete right now, that TJ Watt, Minkah Fitzpatrick, Najee Harris, and Cam Hayward can still form the foundation of a championship-caliber team. But if they draft a quarterback and commit to a developmental process, it means something entirely different, the dawn of a new era, one that may take patience, but could finally bring Pittsburgh back to sustained relevance rather than temporary stability. Mike Tomlin's influence can't be ignored here either. His voice carries weight in every personnel decision. He's never been one to embrace a rebuild, and his track record shows that he values veteran leadership and competitive locker rooms. If he's still calling the shots, odds are he'll push for a short-term answer like Matthew Stafford, someone who can immediately command respect and keep the team competitive while they prepare a younger player behind the scenes. That's the bridge and build approach. Win now, prepare for tomorrow. It's safe, steady, and very Tomlin, but it also delays the inevitable. Let's be honest, Steelers Nation has been spoiled for decades. From Terry Bradshaw to Ben Roethlisberger, the team has spent more time with franchise quarterbacks than almost any organization in football. The post-Roethlisberger years have been a carousel: Mitch Trubisky, Kenny Pickett, Russell Wilson, and now Aaron Rodgers. All temporary fixes, all veteran patches, all reminders that the Steelers haven't truly built for the future in years. And now, that moment is staring them in the face again. The question becomes, what kind of football do you want to watch for the next 5 seasons? The grind-it-out, defense-led style with an aging veteran trying to squeeze one more playoff run out of a fading roster? Or the excitement and growing pains of watching a rookie quarterback develop into something special? Because you can't have both forever. At some point, the front office has to choose. That's why the draft options are so compelling this time around. Ty Simpson is drawing comparisons to C.J. Stroud for his poise and accuracy. Fernando Mendoza has a live arm and leadership qualities that fit perfectly with the toughness of Pittsburgh. Dante Moore has all the raw tools but would need time, something a team with Stafford or Rodgers returning could actually afford to give him. Then there's Lenora Sears, a player scouts describe as the best deep ball thrower in college football. If he declares, he could be the perfect mid-round steal. And when you really think about it, that's what this moment is all about: legacy. For nearly 2 decades under Ben Roethlisberger, the Steelers knew exactly who they were. Every Sunday, you could feel that confidence. They had their guy. Now, every offseason feels like deja vu, another veteran name, another short-term fix, another hope that this one will be the bridge that finally leads to the next franchise quarterback. But bridges aren't supposed to last forever. At some point, you have to cross them. The front office knows this. Omar Khan and Mike Tomlin have built one of the league's most stable organizations by refusing to panic, by waiting for the right move rather than forcing one. But time has a way of running out. The defense is aging. Cam Hayward, TJ Watt, and Minkah Fitzpatrick are still elite, but every season that passes without a true long-term plan under center wastes another year of their prime. You can only rely on defense and veteran experience for so long before the league catches up, and the AFC is stacked with young, explosive quarterbacks. If the Steelers want to compete with the likes of Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar, they'll need to do more than patch holes. They'll need to build an empire, and that's where this next decision becomes historic. Imagine this. It's the 2026 draft, and the Steelers have moved up to take a quarterback who embodies everything the black and gold stands for: toughness, leadership, poise under pressure. He sits for a year behind a trusted veteran like Stafford or Rudolph, learning the system, mastering the playbook, earning respect in the locker room. By 2027, he's ready to take over, a young, hungry quarterback stepping onto the field with the city behind him, carrying the torch that's been waiting since Roethlisberger retired. That's the vision the fans want to believe in. That's the Pittsburgh way. But there's a risk to doing nothing too. Bringing back Rodgers or signing another veteran for one last run could make sense on paper, but what happens if that season ends the same way 2025 might? Another middle-of-the-pack finish, no deep playoff push, and no young quarterback waiting in the wings. You'd be right back where you started, only with fewer draft picks and older stars. That's the nightmare scenario. That's why so many fans are calling for a full reset, not because they're tired of winning, but because they're tired of almost winning. Pittsburgh's strength has always been identity, smash-mouth football, defensive dominance, and loyalty to its people. But in today's NFL, even the toughest teams need an elite quarterback to survive. The front office can build the perfect roster, Arthur Smith can design the perfect system, and Tomlin can lead the perfect locker room, but without a game-changer under center, it'll never be enough. And the truth is, the fans know that. You can feel it in every conversation, every comment thread, every tailgate outside Acrisure Stadium. This city is ready for a new face, a new leader, someone who can give the next generation of Steelers fans the same hope Ben gave the last one. And let's not forget what makes this fan base different. Steelers Nation isn't afraid of hard work or rebuilding. They understand grit, patience, and loyalty. They've watched this team rise and fall before, and they'll do it again if it means getting it right. What they won't tolerate is mediocrity disguised as ambition, one-year fixes that keep the team in the middle of the pack. The fans want direction. They want purpose. They want to believe again. That's why 2026 could become one of the most defining off-seasons in modern Steelers history. Whether Rodgers retires, Stafford enters the picture, or a young quarterback becomes the future, the decisions made in the coming months will determine not just the next season, but the next decade. The foundation is there: elite coaching, a strong locker room, and a front office that knows how to draft. All that's missing is the centerpiece, the leader who can make the offense feared again. So here's the final thought. When the Steelers step into 2026, they'll either be chasing ghosts of the past or building legends for the future. It's a rare crossroads where sentiment and strategy collide. The fans have seen both paths before, and now the organization has to choose which story it wants to write next. So I'll throw it to you, Steelers Nation. If you were in Omar Khan's seat, what would you do? Stick with the veteran path and give this core one more run, or finally commit to the next generation and draft the future? Let me know your thoughts down below. Drop a like if you enjoyed the breakdown, and don't forget to subscribe for more in-depth Steelers coverage all season long. Click on one of the videos on your screen to keep the discussion going. And as always, this is Steelers Talk, where we break it all down, no fluff, no hype, just football. Here we go, Steelers. And as that next chapter of Steelers football approaches, it feels like the city itself is holding its breath. The fans can sense it. This offseason won't just be about roster moves or contract extensions. It's about setting a course for the next 10 years. Every conversation, from the front office to the locker room to the stands at Acrisure Stadium, circles back to the same question: who's going to lead this team into the future? Because in Pittsburgh, quarterback isn't just another position. It's an identity. It defines how this franchise is perceived across the NFL. Think back to the days when Ben Roethlisberger could roll out of the pocket, take a hit from two defenders, and still find a way to deliver a strike downfield. That swagger, that grit, represented what Steelers football has always been about. Since then, the search for the next leader has felt like a revolving door, a mix of short-term gambles and emergency fixes. And the truth is, those temporary answers have only delayed the inevitable. Pittsburgh needs to find their guy again. If Rodgers retires, and there's a real sense that he might, the decision that follows could mark the most pivotal offseason of Mike Tomlin's tenure. The front office will be split between two philosophies. One group will argue to stay competitive now, leaning on experience and a veteran quarterback who can maximize the current roster. The other will push for a full reset, trusting the process of drafting and developing the future. Both paths have merit, but only one truly rebuilds a dynasty. If the team goes the veteran route, Matthew Stafford still stands out as the most likely target. He's tough, experienced, and still has plenty of gas in the tank. You bring him in, and suddenly you're right back in the playoff picture. Stafford to George Pickens? That could be electric. Combine that with a defense led by Fitzpatrick and Hayward, and you've got one of the toughest teams in the AFC again. But it's a temporary high. 1 or 2 seasons, maybe, before you're back to the same question: who's next? The alternative, the more patient route, is riskier, but it's the one that could define the next generation. Draft your quarterback, build around him, protect him, give him a system and coaching staff that believe in development, not instant results. It's how Kansas City built around Mahomes, how Buffalo built around Josh Allen, and how Baltimore reimagined itself around Lamar Jackson. Pittsburgh has the same chance right now, if they're willing to take it. Names like Ty Simpson, Dante Moore, or Fernando Mendoza aren't just prospects, they're potential cornerstones. Simpson's accuracy and leadership could fit perfectly with Arthur Smith's system. Mendoza's arm strength and mobility bring that modern spark the Steelers' offense has been missing. Even someone like Lenora Sears or Brendan Sorsby could be the kind of developmental project that becomes a long-term payoff. The talent is out there. What matters is whether the Steelers have the courage to commit to one. And that's what makes this decision so emotional for fans. The Steelers aren't just any team. They're a franchise built on tradition, pride, and identity. Change doesn't come easy here, but every fan can see what's coming. The AFC is evolving faster than ever, and standing still means falling behind. This is the kind of offseason where legacies are written, for the players, the coaches, and even the front office. Omar Khan's reputation as a bold but calculated GM will be tested. Mike Tomlin's ability to adapt and evolve will be tested, and the fan base's patience tested most of all. But if any organization can handle a transition like this, it's Pittsburgh. This is the same franchise that rebuilt itself after Terry Bradshaw, the same one that rose again with Roethlisberger, the same one that has never panicked, even when outsiders said it was time to. The Steelers don't chase trends, they set them. And that's why this next move has to be the right one, not the easy one. Imagine it, a sold-out Acrisure Stadium in 2027, the terrible towels waving, a young quarterback, maybe Ty Simpson, maybe Mendoza, running out of the tunnel to a roar that shakes the city. That's the dream the fans are clinging to. That's the kind of vision that can unify a franchise. But it all starts with the decision they make in 2026. So as we look ahead, the message to the front office is simple. Don't settle. Don't chase mediocrity. Don't fall